Steph Aberger Shultz. I was a 2001 graduate of LaSalle, and my sister Marie is also a graduate from LaSalle. Sure, so after LaSalle, I went to the University of Notre Dame, and I studied history and international peace studies. And I was very much on a trajectory where I thought I was going to go into academia and be a researcher, and had an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Teach for America, and that really changed my trajectory. I ended up doing Teach for America in New York City, loving the work, teaching at a middle school, staying there for a few years, going to graduate school, and then I spent the next 12 years of my career at DC public schools. My last role, I served as the Deputy Chief of Schools, supporting the 50,000 grade students at DC public schools. Yeah, that's a good question. A bunch of things. I was involved in drama. One of my fondest memories was being in the musicals and the plays at LaSalle. I did a bunch of clubs in LaSallian youth, and there were a lot of activities. LaSalle was a great place to really get a well-rounded education. Yeah, I think there were a couple teachers. So I think because I had brother Paul, I will never write a run-on sentence ever in my life. I think a class that I took that was just incredible was I took Mrs. Starkey's anatomy class. I had no intention of ever becoming a doctor. I did not become a doctor, but I took that class more than anything else prepared me for what the rigor of college was going to be like. She had just such high expectations for us as students. I remember just loving that class and loving how hard it was and loving learning about something that, well, it doesn't influence my day-to-day life. It's just a class I'm proud of having taken. So LaSalle is really one of the first places where I started to think about social justice. I think by the very nature of going to LaSalle, there's just so much privilege. It's a beautiful facility, it's an incredible environment, and I think that's the first place where I really started to think about, to those who much is given, much is expected. And I think that was very much a part of the education, whether from Christian service experiences or even classes we took, where you had to think about people who were different than yourself. And very much, I like to think that my career has been dedicated to trying to ensure that everyone has the kind of education that I got at LaSalle. Just an incredible opportunity to think about how policy and systems can come together to try and make sure that every kid has a great education. Not every school is LaSalle, but every school could be. And so what are the supports and resources that you can put around schools to make sure everyone gets that? I think from my experiences as a teacher, I worked as a coach, I worked at the district for 12 years, every kid can succeed in incredible and unbelievable ways. And it's really, what are we as a society doing to set kids up for success? And so I like to think that I was a part of helping to make school a little bit better for more students, and certainly that's the work that keeps me going. Sure, so I recently made a transition and I work at the XQ Institute. I'm the Senior Director of Strategic Projects here. And really XQ is one of the nation's leading organizations that's focused on rethinking high school to ensure that all high schools are great. So we have a national scope and a national portfolio and are really working about how do you make sure that high school is robust and exciting and really is evolving to meet the demands of the moment. I think the economy, technology looks so different even than when I went to LaSalle. I think, we used a computer, but certainly not in school. And I think just watching AI hit schools and what that has meant, and being a part of that, how do you ensure that schools are just embracing what's next and setting kids up for really this bright, bold future that we can't even imagine what it's going to look like with the kids who are in kindergarten today, what their life will be like in 20 years. It's an interesting question. I think one of the things that I've been struck with over my career is so much of gaps that persist stem from educational inequities. And a lot of educational inequities that persist stem from a lack of access to really rigorous content. One of the things that we consistently see is you'll see schools where students aren't ever seeing the content for the grade level. If you're not even asking a student to do the thing that's rigorous and robust, they're never gonna have an opportunity to succeed at it. And so this raising the bar of ensuring all kids have rigorous, exciting, meaningful learning opportunities is one of the key things we can do for kids. And we know that educational outcomes dictate what happens to you, right? We know you can look to things as horrifying as states formerly looking to third grade literacy scores to think about prison expansion. So indicative are the measures between your ability to read, to think critically, to have opportunity later in life. And so anything we can do as a country to wrap around and to support and ensure all kids have a great education is something I feel a great responsibility to work towards. I think about LaSalle as giving me a foundation to then go do whatever I wanted to do in the world. And I think also giving me a foundation to really recognize that in doing and pursuing my own goals, I have a responsibility to others and how I do them. And so I think those two things are critical. In some ways, it's surprising to me that LaSalle has only been co-ed for 40 years. It's exciting to me that LaSalle made that choice, but to think about what the women of LaSalle have achieved in 40 years is incredible. We have a graduate of LaSalle who would go on to be the governor of the state and the commerce secretary. That's incredible. We look at two examples like that, and that's so inspiring to me. And I think when I think about the women who attend LaSalle now, I think recognize that people like that held doors open for you and have made opportunities accessible to you, and stride through them. Take up space. You have just as much right to be at the table. Do that, but then also think about how are you holding the doors open for other people, and what are you doing to make it a little bit easier for the next generation to have more access to opportunity. By going to LaSalle, you're already so many, have so many advantages. You're already standing on the ladder. What are you going to do to help other people also? It was fun. Getting this ask gave me an opportunity to think about high school, and I think it's in many ways. I had no idea I wanted to be an educator in high school. I had no idea that this was where my career path would take me, but I knew I wanted to do something where I felt like I could feel like I was making a difference, and I knew that a next step was college, and I think LaSalle prepared me so well for that. I've been fortunate to maintain touch with some, maybe not as many as I would like, but some good friends from LaSalle, and to kind of have that network of support. I mean, a LaSalle grad is the godmother of my child, right? We're, that she's family to me, and I think that's a relationship that started at LaSalle, and that I've just benefited from, and I'm grateful to LaSalle for that.